11. I'd like to call to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Burchell?
Here.
District 1 Morset?
Here.
District 2 Yakub? Here. District 3 Bernard? Here. District 4 Wyland?
Here.
District 5 Hoggett?
Here.
District 6 Vanslo?
Here.
Devin.
I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new finance officer for the city of Hudson. Mr. Neil Soltis is here with us tonight. If you want to come up, and you don't have to give a half hour like
I was just kidding.
We don't introduce yourself, and Neil will be starting August 1st.
Thank you. My name's Neil Soltis. I'm honored to be coming to Hudson. I'm really looking forward to the experience. As is Devin, I'm a CPA. I cut my teeth in municipal finance a number of years ago with the city of Shaker Heights. And I'm looking to return to my roots in finance. I think I have a lot to offer the community. I have a welter of experience. I'm coming from 9 years as the administrator in Osceola. 2 weeks left, and they're keeping me very busy, so I'm very fortunate to be able to come down here this evening. And hopefully, I can be a great resource to Devin and the rest of the community, and look forward to the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this point, we'll take comments and suggestions from citizens present on anything that's not on our agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? One more time, is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Okay. Consent agenda.
To approve the public hearing and regular meeting minutes of July 5th, 2011. To approve claims for payment in the amount of $328,310.21. A detailed description is available in the clerk's office on request and is posted on the city's website. To approve the issuance of 14 regular operator licenses for the period July 19th, 2011 to June 30th, 2013. Additional information is available in the clerk's office.
Could you pull those, please?
To approve the change in the route for the Brian Lautenbach Fun Run on Saturday, September 17th, 2011 to begin and end at White Camp Park. To place on file the quarterly reports of the police chief, fire chief, and building inspector and the minutes of the July 28th, 2011 Community Access Board, the July 12th, 2011 Public Utilities Commission minutes, and the July 13th, 2011 Sacra EMS Commission minutes. That is all.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second. Wyland?
Yes.
Bernard?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Yakub?
Yes.
Hoggett?
Yes.
Vanslo?
Yes.
Okay. Application for operator's license. Randy, you have people on there that you are...
Yes, and I'll recuse myself from that.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Wastewater treatment energy recovery project. Those of you that weren't here, Jim had to leave tonight, but we in finance unanimously approved the project for $830,000 for a biosolids operation to generate. I'm trying to think what are they generating? BTUs and use that energy and decrease our solids that we're hauling to Ellsworth. We're going to decrease our costs there. It's about a 6.5-year payback. For our 6.4 years, it's an $830,000 project, $129,000 per year. Each of you received the information in your packets. Any questions?
We approved it contingent upon review of the. Oh, the
Sydney.
Biosolids contract.
Right.
Biosolids contract that we have in Ellsworth. We're a member of that. There's 7 communities,
I believe so, yes.
and we're a part owner of that.
The initial outlay of these funds will come from the facilities fund that we put so much money aside each year for these type of projects, and then over time, the savings will replenish that fund.
The fund is current balance of $5,387,000.
So one of the questions as I was poking through the data here. So it reduces our biosolids. Does it overall increase our capacity?
No.
It just changes the way we process the waste.
Okay.
And
So it
how
doesn't
much we
increase-
have to transfer.
Pardon?
And it reduces how much we have to transport.
Right, so it's gonna
elsewhere.
save us money in getting rid of it, but it's not gonna increase our capacity.
No. John, you have anything?
Is this taking advantage of the Focus on Energy grant then?
Yes.
Okay,
I think we have
$55,000.
$55,000.
okay.
We tried to get more, but that's all they'd give us.
It's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, it is.
We have 6 years of capacity left, right?
Oh, I think we have longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yep.
It really depends on development.
Also, the technology has changed dramatically, and we may not have to use as much capacity. We don't have to necessarily build a bigger plant. Technology is improving.
Now, it would be interesting to see Jim's report again, because I think he put one up a couple months ago and had a projection when we'd run out.
Yep.
And even at current rates, we want to keep tabs on that.
Wasn't it
because-
19 years? Do you remember?
I think it was closer to
6?
That's what I thought I remembered.
It's 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure this really directly reflects any capacity.
Nothing.
No, this doesn't, that's
No,
why I
I
asked.
just-
It doesn't increase capacity.
So I'll move to approve
Okay.
the biogas project contingent on the city attorney going through the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion, or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request or recommendation from the EMS, St. Croix EMS Commission for advance of funds from the city's general fund. Devin?
The EMS Commission has requested, would like to purchase a demonstration ambulance, and what they're proposing is to get an advance from the general fund reserves in the amount of $135,000, repaid monthly over 5 years. The monthly payments are $24.27, and we've done this before between the funds. When we purchased the First Street building, there was an advance from the wastewater treatment plant fund, and we were able to pay that back right away. But so the auditor is on board with this. He said this is done in the past. You know, as far as the actual vehicle, Lori, maybe defer to Lori on that.
Well,
Should we take the first item,
That's
whether or
true,
not
yep.
we want to do
So
that?
So basically what it is they would be, we'd be advancing the money and they'd repay it back to the general fund reserves with interest. So, and 3% is obviously more than we're getting in our investments right now.
so it'll be paid back over 5 years.
5
We're in the
years.
process of working through getting 5-year contracts in place with all of the municipalities that are part of EMS.
And whatever they're able to get for the sale of the current vehicle, they would apply then to the loan, and then that would just shorten up the payback period. Correct, Derek? That's what your plan is? Okay.
Is the size of this vehicle the same as the current? Are we gonna have any problems housing it?
No, it'll fit. It's a little bit bigger, but it's within limits of the garage.
All right.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
I mean, most of my questions were answered during finance, but I was just curious on some, like, little questions. I wanted to know how many miles are on our current vehicle and how long we've had that. And then how many miles are gonna be on the new vehicle?
There's about 7,000 or 5,000 miles on the new vehicle. The vehicle that we will be getting rid of is a 1996
Okay.
vehicle. The one that we're using for first out has 170,000. The plan is we were gonna sell the 1996, take the one with the 190, put that as our third out reserve ambulance, and then place this new one as our primary first out truck.
So how many miles are on the one that we're selling?
That we're selling, there'll be about 70 or 80, but it's just old. The parts are getting hard to find for it, and it's just an old outdated technology and lighting and that. So.
Okay.
You had talked at one time about re-chassis-ing.
That would be on the next step, after we get this going and we see where we're at and all that. The plan would be when we go to replace the other, instead of purchasing an ambulance outright, we would just re-chassis one of the ambulances now with a new box, and those are typically between 90 and 95,000 versus the 150 to 170 that you'll pay for a new truck.
The key is you just have to do that before.
You got to do that within so many years of the vehicle model and that. So it's a very viable option. It seems to be what a lot of places are doing now. It's like getting a brand new truck because they'll obviously new chassis, but then they redo the box and it.
So that's what we're looking at for our next
future
replacement.
So instead of buying a new vehicle outright, we'll just re-chassis one of our current ones at a lesser cost.
Eric's provided us $12,000 in various savings because the payments are going to be $29,112 a year. And also our per capita with our increase in population, around about $24,000 in increased revenue to the EMS service. So there's a 36 to cover the 29,000, if everything else stays even.
Yep.
And the cash flow projection I have there, as I mentioned in finance, is pretty conservative. It's more so based on budget than what we're actually seeing year to date, so.
We kind of are combining 8 and 9 together, or 7 and 8 together, but I think that's okay, because it's kind of one and the same.
Well, actually, can we make a motion just to approve the lending?
Sure, absolutely.
One other question before we do. What's the, when are you gonna be looking to re-chassis the next two?
We'll determine that next year. I think we'll take a look at the condition of the one and we'll see where we're at. And I think, will it need to be replaced or re-chassied? Yes. Next year will be the first year that we look at it and we'll determine what the condition of the box and that. And we can make a better determination.
The other, I'm sorry.
The reason I was asking is because this is a 5-year,
Right.
Right.
5-year, and we'll be adding more to it a year from now.
Well, and that's
Possibly.
another reason that the original thought from the EMS Commission was to do that in 2012, but now they're saying, let's see if 2011
Right.
is another
Let's
good
see what it
year.
looks like.
See how 2012 goes, so that we're not,
We don't want
To
to
make sure that
We don't
these
want to
aren't-
get too far into it and then have to back off, so.
Yep.
Is that your motion, the first one to
Well, I'll
approve
make
the borrow?
I'll make a motion that we lend from the city's reserve fund $135,000 to the EMS Commission,
advance the
Second.
funds.
advance it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have the request of the St. Croix EMS to purchase the ambulance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public Safety Committee.
Oops, we had to
That's
change the
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Again, I think everybody had a chance to look at it. I don't have it in front of me now. It was about $4,000.
No, it was, but we just got.
$200.
$200. So we went back and it was $200 more because we had to go to a 2012 Explorer instead of a 2011 Expedition. So it was $201 more, and we also went out and looked at the new Tahoe, and that was $400 higher, so it was recommended from finance that we go with the 2012 Ford Explorer. It was a $200 increase over what we had approved last meeting.
I'll move to approve the purchase of the 2012 Ford Explorer for $26,300.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll go to public safety. Mary, you want to take this one?
Sure. The city of Hudson, has, as you read, about $58,000 in outstanding parking tickets. And so as we were trying to find the best solution to collect on the $58,000, we thought we don't have an ordinance in place or any policy of booting or towing cars. So we worked with Catherine to get an ordinance written up to try and collect from those that have outstanding fines of $100 or more. And to have $100 or more, you've had to have 3 tickets. So obviously would be a repeat offender. These cars have received notices. We have a notices of, the first notice is your ticket, the second notice is a letter from the city. And then if they don't, after 28 days, if they don't pay, a notice comes from the Department of Transportation that their registration will be revoked, suspended. So these vehicles are already illegally on the road simply by having suspended registrations. So basically we needed to find a solution to try and, get back some of this $58,000, and this is the solution that public safety came up with.
Can I just make a few comments?
Sure.
That was basically correct. There are a couple of things. It has to be illegally parked in order to have it towed or booted. So what happens is they get they have 3 violations, uncontested and unpaid violations outstanding. At that point, after they've gotten the notices that Mary described, they'll get another notice from the city saying you have 3 violations. If you don't pay within X number of days, I think it's probably gonna be 10 or something. If your car is illegally parked on the road, it will be towed or immobilized. So that's the key, and the idea is you're trying to improve both compliance and collection of the fees.
And
So
illegally parked is, you wrote it that way because we're not gonna go to someone's driveway and boot or tow. It just has to be on the road.
No, it has to
Illegally
be
parked?
illegally parked on the road. It has to be parked in violation of,
Meter expired.
meter expired, or in a no parking, or
So it's
more
not
than 2
illegally
hours.
parked if its registrations are suspended?
No, it's gotta be illegally parked. And that's because you've gotta have a reason to tow or boot the car.
Okay.
So it
So
allows
that's
you-
what I wanted to
yeah.
clarify.
So what allows us to do is that when you find a repeat offender
Yeah.
who's already got outstanding things and they haven't paid and they're not paying, it gives you the chance to say, okay, you're done driving until you do.
Correct.
What will happen too, just so you know, is they'll get a notice on their car that says, well, if it's not towed, if it's just immobilized, your car's been immobilized because of these reasons, go to the police department. It will give them instructions on what they can do to get their car back. And they will need to pay the charges and up to a maximum of $500.
Have we done some comparatives on this and what cities of our population and size are booting cars?
I have not found cities of Hudson's size. It's not common. I talked with Madison, they don't do it. Actually, I did not find cities in Wisconsin that do it, although I didn't do a massive search. I was alerted that Madison maybe did it, but they have decided not to.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just think the towing is a consequence enough. I'm not in favor of booting cars. Whatever happened to the small town feel that we always like to welcome people to Hudson? Now, don't get me wrong, $58,000 outstanding is excessive. So the system broke down somewhere on collecting what is owed.
Well, the police department does send out several notices telling them to pay and asking them to pay, and I think the booting was intended, 2 things. Sometimes it's difficult to get a tow truck in the downtown area to be able to tow the car. Secondly, it's in some ways less intrusive because you can walk down, they will have a notice on their vehicle saying, your car's been immobilized because of these reasons, go to the police department at, the address, and you can take care of this by paying the charges up to a maximum of $500. So I think booting was supposed to make it easier
And there's a
and less
third point.
expensive.
Yeah, there's a third point, which is the expense. It's gonna cost the owner of the car an extra $150,000 because they'll have to pay the towing fee. $150, excuse me, because they'll have to pay the towing fee,
Those went up.
Yeah.
So I mean,
How
you
much is a
boot,
boot?
a boot cost about $200, I think.
Well, I think.
$500?
Yeah.
No?
that's
Well,
gone
my
up.
information has been skewed since the public safety meeting. $500, but it can be reused. It's not something that once you boot, you lose it. So you buy a
Yeah.
couple boots for,
Just
$1,000.
a last one question, Lori. What message are we trying to send?
Well, let's
Pay your
ask
ticket.
let's ask another
Well,
piece of this.
comply with
Who is it,
parking.
who is it gonna impact? It's gonna impact those people that have the vehicle, the registration has been terminated
yeah.
or suspended.
Yeah.
It's not legal for them to drive on the roads anyhow, because they have no,
Well, that's not exactly true either, because I think it's most typical that it's been suspended, but that's another process that the police
Right.
department goes through. But whether it's suspended or not, if they've gotten the notice that they have 3 uncontested parking violations and unpaid, and they are again,
right.
4th time around illegally parked, that they will be towed or immobilized.
And our process says that, Marty, or correct me if I'm wrong, but after the 3rd violation, it's sent up to the state, who then suspends the registration.
Third notice
Correct,
on the
but-
first violation.
Third notice
Yeah.
on the first violation, so
Correct,
this is
Marty?
the third violation. They
They've
leave,
had
they
9
can't-
notices.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be on the
Essentially to
road.
pay some tickets. Yeah.
It's likely it's been suspended, but that isn't a
Right.
requirement. That's my only point.
Marty, if your license plate is suspended, you're not legal on the road, are you?
No, you're not.
That's my point.
Okay.
So why
So
do
if
they
we
have
give
to be
them-
illegally parked? in order-
Well, there's a case on it where
Okay.
someone challenged it, and the court holding is a car is property, and you have to have a reason for towing it, and the reason is that they're illegally parked.
Do you have to have a reason for
And
booting
that-
it too?
Yes, oh yeah.
And I do like that, because back to your point, Randy, this isn't a hunt, it's, we bring up your license, you know what? You've done this 4 times now, we didn't go looking for you, you parked illegally again. So it isn't like go out and look for people, it's like, here's the information as soon as we find a person illegally parked.
I have a question.
Yes.
And I'm not opposed to this in theory. I guess my question is, how does this really help us collect $58,000? I really want to get at, because it seems like an awful lot of things have to happen before we're going to even get that person to.
If you want to
Pay
drive your car home
$500.
that night, you're going to have to pay the
I
bill.
think
No,
you might
I'm
get
just
better
wondering how many times in a
compliance in
year.
general.
Yeah, I mean, there are other ways of getting at the collections, and I'm just wondering what you guys have looked at.
There is a collection agent, Marty, do you want to talk in a collections agency?
Can we do tax intercept on property?
We have taken a look at that, but some of these people don't live in the city of Hudson, so obviously that can be
Okay.
difficult. There's not a lot of plates from Minnesota that are involved in this. I was thinking that would be the majority of it. But even if you charge a collection agency, they're going to charge you so much money per ticket. Well, then that eats up whatever is in the ticket. So now it's just a wash. We looked at this option because River Falls does the same thing. They just don't do the booting. They do the ticketing and the towing.
They tow it.
Yeah.
Why don't they do the boot?
I don't know why they don't do a boot. The reason we brought up the boot, the simple fact is the downtown, it's so hard to get a tow truck in there to try to tow somebody out in the middle of the
Stillwater
day.
doesn't do a boot.
I think we're looking at a small percentage of people that, I know it says $58,000, but that's the entire amount of money that is in the parking system. If you take a look at the ones that owe us or have more than $100 or fines that they owe us or 3 or more tickets, you're looking somewhere around maybe 50 vehicles, and that amount is right around that $18,000 to $20,000 mark.
Who's gonna put it on? Who's
It'll
gonna
either
take
be,
it off?
will either be an officer or maybe Public Works if we can get them to comply a little bit. Lorraine will try anything. I think she'd be willing to put that thing on.
Well, there will be training on.
Correct.
Actually, I mean,
installation.
if it were my vehicle, I'd rather it be booted than
Oh,
towed away.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want anyone towing my car.
Because you're, at the
My
toll,
car
you're
With
gonna,
my underside.
at the toll, you're gonna look at $125 for the tow fee, $25 service fee, and if we end up hanging onto that vehicle for a while, you're looking at a $5 storage fee for every day that's there. So, it can be quite expensive.
I think booting is is one of the main reasons besides, and I said this already, but I'm going to repeat it, is that it is less expensive in the long run for that owner. I mean, we're trying to be nice and boot it, in a way, so I don't know.
I would just like clarification. Mary, you said that if they had 1 violation and were notified 3 separate times, that they could be towed or booted.
No.
No.
They have to have 3 separate violations.
3 tickets will give you $100 or more of a penalty fine. So they'd have to get 3 violations. But with each ticket, the first notice is a ticket. The second notice after like 10 days is a letter from the city saying you've received a ticket, just in case maybe the ticket blew off or something. And then after 28 days, the city sends notice to the Department of Transportation that this vehicle has not unpaid parking tickets. Then the Department of Transportation sends them another notice and says, if you don't pay within this amount of time, your car registration will be suspended. So they've received all that notice just from the 1 ticket. They're gonna have to go through that 2 more times before we would even consider booting or towing. Go with the 3 strikes you're out rule right
Well,
now.
but they could lose their registration on 1
Oh,
ticket.
At the first
absolutely.
ticket, but
They're
that's
doing
the
that now.
state, that's not from
That's a
us,
matter
that's
of
the
state
state.
statute, and the
Yeah.
DOT does that.
That's,
I
that's
mean,
out
with
of our
the
hands.
city
Okay.
turning it into.
So there is a
4-2.
consequence for one offense.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, I'm curious, is this gonna happen a handful of times a year? We're not talking about a common.
No, it's not gonna be everybody in
I don't think it'll
downtown's
be as
gonna get
common,
booted.
but the one thing is though, is that we do have similar vehicles that continue to pile up. We have one vehicle that owes us over $1,700 in parking fines. So I would love to get that one booted.
I think to look at other ways for those who owe less money, we have to investigate a little more, but these are for the extreme cases. You know, and that's why we're taking a more extreme measure. I think there is other things we have to look at, but
Any other comments? Want to suspend the rules or have a first reading, or what's your
I'll
preference?
move to suspend the rules.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Bernard,
Yes.
Morset,
No.
Yaku,
Yes.
Haggett,
Yes.
Vanslo.
Yes.
Wyland.
Yes.
Okay, rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt resolution 14-11.
Ordinance.
Or ordinance 14-11.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Do we need a roll call on that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you. Park Board. Who's going to carry this one? Who's our Park Board rep?
Lee.
Park board rep. Yes.
Shoot, Lee.
Is he here today to talk
Yep.
about it? Why don't you come up and tell us what you have in mind.
Good evening. If you would, state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Michael Soderlund. And my address, you said?
Yes.
Oh, 757 Kenny Road, Hudson, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
You're just gonna give us a briefing on what
Okay.
what is your, I mean, we got the packet, we got the information, but we just wanna hear it.
Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to start a pedicab service, which is going to be located in the lower part of Hudson, located in the Peninsula Dike area. And what we like to do is offer a service that would in turn give people a ride to the end of the dike and return back to the beginning of the dike, and possibly offer rides to and from different parts of the park. Basically, just kind of help people that don't have the means to get to the end of the dike. You know, give them a chance to get down there and see how beautiful it is down there. We went down there and on a few different occasions and spoke with some people about what they thought about our service, and we've heard nothing but good things about, you know, what people thought about our service that we would offer. We also wanted to offer tours. We spoke with a couple of people in the park board upstairs, and they said that there's a high demand for people that want to go up and down the St. Croix Road, I believe it is, up and down, you know, all around the park. They can't really do it because of their age, handicap, things in that nature. So we would like to offer them means in doing that. So.
Thank you. And the park board reviewed this and was definitely in favor of it. It certainly brings a nice, unique charm to our park. Friendly hometown feel, if you will. And I like the idea of, you know, people who can't experience some of these places couldn't experience it this way.
The application says dusk till dawn, and that was approved for dusk till dawn.
I'm sorry.
On to dusk.
No, the application says dusk to dawn. So either
Supposed to be
that's
the other way
wrong,
around.
or it has to be modified.
I think it's supposed to be the other way around.
Yes, sir.
I hope it is.
We corrected it in the pamphlets that we gave you. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
How many bikes are you gonna have, start off with, one or two?
Two.
So one will be on each end, or?
Correct, yes.
And communicating through walkie-talkie, I
Correct,
assume?
yes.
Okay, I was kind of wondering how you were gonna pull off the
Hand
communication
signals.
on this one, so.
Have we solved insurance here, liabilities and things like that?
Well, this is an unusual situation. I'm not really an insurance expert. I called the city's insurer and kind of she was, didn't know exactly either. The number that typically comes to mind is $1 million in liability insurance. I don't know what's out there and what the cost is, and.
Have you looked into insurance, Mike?
We have made a couple phone calls, and they offer different. I don't think $1 million would cost that much, would it, for liability? It didn't sound like
Seems like an excessive amount.
It is.
I was gonna say, this sounds like a really low-risk venture.
Right.
I mean,
We raised our taxi cab from 100 to 500 recently. And I can't believe we'd want him to have $1 million to
No.
ride a bicycle, but.
We're 100 for a cab and $1 million for a bike. I'm not sure. Doesn't sound right.
Well, yeah. That's up to us, right?
Technically, is the Dyke Road, it's part of Lakefront Park?
Correct.
Okay,
It's no longer considered a road.
It's not a road.
yeah.
Do you see this being used on the street, Mike?
that's what I would like to discuss with you, to see how far you would actually want us to go up. Eventually, if it goes well, we would like to bring it to your guys' attention again, to possibly go around, all maybe first, second, third,
Sure.
street up and down. Because like I said, Hudson is a beautiful city, and a lot of people don't have the means to get to and from different places, and this would offer them that ability. So right now, we kind of want to just try it at the park, like I said, from the beginning to the end of the dike, and just around inside of the park, not on the street. And then down the line, eventually, I would like to bring it to your guys' attention again to possibly expand it.
It would seem to me it would follow the same bicycle rules and maybe cab
Yeah.
rules, because it's just biking. And I think the $100,000, you said we just went from 1 to 5 on cabs. I
Yep.
think 1 would be certainly reasonable for a bicycle.
I agree with you, Lee.
So I'll make a motion that we approve this with $100,000 liability coverage.
With limit to the Dyke Road, Lee?
Right now, it's the park and the
Park.
Riverwalk, yeah.
Park and Riverwalk?
Yeah.
But can we talk about that a little bit? Is there a
one-
second to this, to Lee's motion? Is there a second so that we can
I'll
discuss?
second it so we can see.
But if he wants to go on the street and follows the rules, should we limit right away that he can't take it out? Why not if he goes on Second Street or First Street or?
I mean, as long as we
Follows the
we
rules.
let a cab go on there, and we've got licensing
Bicycles.
for the cab, and we've got, doesn't
Well,
seem like we should.
I want to
let it
talk
go.
about the
Carrying
width
people.
of the vehicle
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit, the width of
And
the.
you're on the road, that's different than the Dake Road. In terms of potential damages, injuries.
Obstruction.
What about it's following up on the width of the lakefront path versus the width of your vehicle? Is that gonna obstruct other walkers,
Other
bikers,
other
rollerbladers?
wheelchairs.
It's about the same width as a double
It's the same width as a baby carriage.
stroller.
Very
Baby
close,
carriage, yeah.
very close, yes. Or the double strollers, like you said, that you run behind, very similar in width.
Okay,
So
really?
wouldn't,
And also, they would all have lights on them, brake lights, blinkers, things like that. So, when it gets to the dusk, or dawn.
I guess I have some concern about the paths in the park just not being wide enough to accommodate that and other people
Mhm.
that might want to be passing you in a wheelchair, on a bicycle, walking, whatever. So that's just a thought. I'm not opposed to it being on the streets, other than I don't want to see traffic on Second Street coming to a halt because,
I understand, yeah. It won't. And we're going to be very etiquette with everyone else, too. I mean, everyone's going to have the right of way. It's going to be her and myself that are going to be using the bicycles, and we're going to be very particular who we let on our bicycles and what we're doing. We're going to try to set an example this first year, so that when we come back, we could possibly expand a little bit in the city of Hudson. So we're going to do our best to set a good
I want to see you go up Cooley Road.
Or how about the Indian
World
Road?
It's harder.
How about on 94?
Yeah, 94. Okay, any other questions?
Were you gonna make a, do you wanna?
Well, I just was curious if anyone else had the same concern.
Well, not if it's the width of a double stroller, I'm not as concerned. I mean, people are walking with double strollers down there all the time. I'm actually surprised that it's only that wide.
Yeah, I am too, I guess.
Did you guys receive a picture?
Did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I guess, you know,
You can look at if you can look where the person is sitting, it's, you know, it's about 4.5 feet, 4 feet, I'd say about 4 feet wide. And that's pushing it, you know.
you could fit 6 people on that, huh?
Well, they have, the ones that we're gonna have are the 3 passengers.
3,
2
okay.
comfortably, you could probably fit a small child in between.
Okay.
Or, you know, you could probably, we won't fit 3 people, we'll probably go 2 and possibly a small child. Not too small where they need a car seat or anything like that, but 2 adults comfortably, and possibly if they had a you know, a small or a kid with them, they'd fit comfortably.
Any other questions?
I guess my preference would be that, I don't know. Well, I was gonna say that First Street be used instead of the paths in the park. You know, I guess when it's not congested, it's not an issue. But I would just hate to see people feeling like, you know, there wasn't room on the path or.
And I think they're gonna get some experience right away too, and if that becomes an issue.
This is a trial period.
If we're
right?
allowing them to use the streets, I'm sure I'm hoping that you would be considered if it is becoming restrictive, that maybe you would just use the street. versus-
Absolutely, and like I said, we're gonna be very cautious. We're not, I mean, the last thing I would wanna do is exercise that insurance that I
That's true too.
paid for, so.
I don't know, I've traveled to a lot of cities with a lot of pedicabs, and they become very popular at certain times of the day. If you include Second Street, that allows, or some variation that allows people to go from the park to restaurants, it makes downtown very accessible and very scalable for their kind of business. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the paths. I mean, we see gangs of people in front of where I live, and everyone seems to be able to negotiate and navigate even on the narrower sections of trails. So I personally think it's a great idea, and I think they should be able to. A lot of people like to go down to where the railroad property is. There's kind of a nice little stream there, and you know, it's a great park system. Why not let other people use it?
Stay off
I
the
guess.
railroad bridge, please.
I promise you, I'll do that. And also, I mean, so then the actual dike itself, I mean, that's gonna be our, you know, cause I'm sure you all know, it's kind of a chore to get down there on a hot day like today. Would that be okay if we were to do that, as long as we use an appropriate speed and manner of travel?
That's a lot
Okay,
of bikes
okay.
that travel that path.
All right, so that'd be great, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a trial,
When would you look to start up?
as soon as possible.
You already have the bikes?
We're ready, we didn't want to purchase them if you guys were gonna be like, nope, and then we're stuck with pedicabs, so we're waiting for today's meeting, and then, we're going right into it, so.
So the motion right now stands to be the park and the Riverwalk. Do one. Is there an amendment to?
I can't do the amendment, can you?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I'll make an amendment to expand it to the.
That be the person that made.
Who made the motion?
I
did.
thought, yeah, I didn't think I can make the
No,
amendment.
I'm the only one that can amend it?
You can actually make a motion within a motion.
Yeah,
Okay. I will amend my motion to include the streets in the,
okay. Is that okay with, who is the seconder?
It's me.
You okay with that, Lori? Okay. Is there any other discussion?
No, sir.
With-
Can I just make a comment, just so you know? Then you'll need to apply at the city
Yes, for
and
businesses.
have your liability insurance certificate, and there will be a background
Okay.
check as well.
Great.
Should it be contingent on the insurance?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He has
absolutely.
to- That's why I wanted to just,
Sure,
so you know
absolutely.
before starting, you
Yep.
gotta do some things.
I know, and I'm aware of that, and I will. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, discussions?
No, sir. Actually, this is kind of off subject. Should I stay here the rest until it's adjourned? This is my first meeting I've been to.
No,
I'm not
we'll make
familiar with
a determination before you sit down.
Oh, okay, great.
Then you can go home.
I didn't know, that's why thank you, I appreciate it.
We'll make a vote, and then if it's yay, then you'll be happy. If it's nay, then you won't
Okay.
be happy.
Thank you all for your time, I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Mike.
much.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, Mike.
Have a nice night.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
At this point, is it okay if we change the agenda a little bit? We have a request of Bridge for Youth with Disabilities to designate their October 1st walkout fundraiser as a community event. Can we do that so they don't have to sit here? I'm sorry I missed you guys earlier. I should have had that done earlier.
Oh, there it is.
Everybody okay with that? Under new
Yep.
business?
You bet.
Is there a motion?
To change the agenda?
It's, no.
Designate it a community event.
To make it designate the bridge as a community event.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on it? Basically, so they don't have to.
So each vendor doesn't have to get their own individual. We do this with the Hot Air Fair and other,
Yep.
the Fall Art Fair,
Yep,
Oh, I see.
the chamber.
it's a formality.
They may want to speak.
Do you want to speak, ladies? Oh, absolutely. As long as it's not too long. Tell us about what you're going to be doing.
Well, good evening to the mayor and to the council members. I'm Ginny Ballantyne, and I'm with Bridge for Youth and Adults with Disabilities. Our mission is to collaborate with school, county, and community youth-serving agencies in providing lifelong learning opportunities for youth and adults with special needs. We are a nonprofit organization established in 2004, and we now provide services for adults and multiple recreation programs for all ages with special needs in the St. Croix County Valley. Our funding comes from program fees, grants, fundraising, which is a big, big piece of our income, and most importantly, memberships from our citizens in our communities. I do the memberships, so I know the names, and I find that of great importance because not only does it engage you into what we do, but it also tells you that you believe in what we do, and that's really important to us. We're going to be hosting our very first Walkabout fundraiser Saturday, October 1st, this beautiful lakefront here. And we're here because we want to ask you to declare our event as a community event so we can invite local businesses and nonprofits to participate in this exciting fundraiser for us so they can also sell their goods and benefit the businesses and those nonprofits as well. At this time, I'd like to introduce Donna Zastrow, who will give you a little more information on the walkabout itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the opportunity to do this. This is the first fundraiser walkabout. We chose downtown, the lakefront area, because it's so beautiful and it's accessible to everyone. So this is the opportunity for children, adults, people in wheelchairs, anybody to actually participate, and we don't have that too much in this area. It'll be a fun-filled event with food, face painting, entertainment, music. Deb O'Keefe has agreed to be down there at the end of the walkabout to sing for us. We have a couple of surprise guest stars that will be showing up. We're hoping to have celebrities walk with groups, and Mayor, we're asking you, the first person, to be a
October
celebrity to walk with our group.
You're really hurting. You're scraping the bottom.
You don't have to answer right now. You
Okay.
can think about it. The ways we're thinking of raising money is, first of all, the registration. Second of all, we're having a chalk walk, and we've got a very talented group of kids that are going to be chalking. We've got approval to do this. And people are going to buy these little spots, whether it be a business buying it or it's the mother rooting on their child. Another way is going to be pledges. We're going to have people pledging if you can do the walk of 1.2 miles. And we're hoping that with your good grace that we can have the vendors donate a percentage of what they make to the event. The participants of the walkabout will be from the St. Croix Valley area, and we feel that we will invite vendors and nonprofits so that both the community and Bridge will benefit from this. So hopefully you guys will give us a go.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Great project.
Thank you.
Great organization. there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
did.
Has it been seconded? All right.
That twice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yay. Okay. You're welcome. Sorry to keep you waiting. Update on projects. Dennis. What's that?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a quick update on projects we're currently working on. Second and Vine Street intersection, as you know, was approved previously. The latest word we have is the work is anticipated to be done either on the last Sunday in July or the first Sunday in August. And it's just supposed to take eight to 10 hours on a Sunday. The Mill and Overlay project, we will be opening bids next Tuesday and bringing that to the Public Works Committee and then to the Council on August 1st with the bids that are received and hopefully awarded at that time. The other project that has activity is that we're working on right now is Grandview Park, the storm sewer project, and laying out the design of that right now, working with Tom Zulli on that, make sure the alignment makes sense through the woods. And that'll be a storm sewer underground per the report that was done, and maintaining the stream bed that's there for the storm sewer will take all the drainage out of the park and parking lot, and the creek bed will remain for the overland drainage that occurs in the woods.
Where does that stormwater connect up to?
That discharges into that wetland that's east of the ball fields,
Okay.
or southeast of the school. That is a landlocked area at this time, and that probably needs some maintenance in the future too, but it's another story for some dredging or some other maintenance that could go on there in the future.
Based on the all the water we had Friday and Saturday, when do you think you get started on number 5?
We're gathering information on that, and this year there was funding to budget the study for it, so we're just began with the collecting data. We should have the feasibility report done about a month and a half. That would include the drainage report that was done previously for the downtown, as well as the reconstruction of Vine Street from 1st to 9th.
And I think that getting together with Tom and talking about what areas flooded on Friday and Saturday, because I know there were some that are a little bit further towards Malibu that flooded seriously too. So we got to figure out if we're solving all those problems or just some of them.
Right, I won't get into all the details, but there's existing storm sewer that goes down 9th, and that was, per that report, was recommended to remain in place, although it's undersized. And the report, I think, mentioned that's a future project that needs to be addressed. But you're right, we need to look at all the areas. I know the rain on Saturday morning was an inordinate amount in a short period of time. And addressing the storm sewer is not designed for a storm of that frequency. It's typically designed for a 5 or 10 year event, and then the street and overland drainage is supposed to take the remainder of it. That storm, I think, was 4 inches in 2.5 hours, and at the peak, I looked it up, there was 2 inches in about 20 minutes, which is almost unheard of.
And as we get into this, we can go more detail, but there's areas that regularly flood with just an inch or two of rain. So we got some serious undersizing around the area.
The Vine Street drainage report will look at those areas tributary to Vine Street, but we can look at other areas too.
Okay.
And then just briefly, some private developments that had a little work going on. The Hudson Elder Housing Project and Heritage Greens. The building is going on. Most of the utilities are in. I know David was inspecting an underground stormwater treatment system that they put in based on some of the DNR rules for water treatment. And that's probably one of the first systems installed in the city in that regard. And Mississippi Flats, they just repaired the curb and gutter on Nemacoggin Street where they tied in. There's still a gravel patch there that needs to be paved. Want to time it with their own paving that they do with their parking lot. So if there's any other questions.
Number 6, Goodwill, you gonna clean that up, or are you gonna drop that off this list, or?
Yeah, I'm going to leave it on the list. I need to check with, I think there's a retainage that was left over from their letter when they did the project, and I need to see how much is there and what kind of leverage we can use to help get that done. Yeah, it's a tricky area because it was designed as a a swale that is supposed to infiltrate water. Not the best scenario in the boulevard there. So there will always be issues with trying to grow grass inside there. But we'll see what can be done.
I have one question. A couple of years ago, we had a presentation from the DOT about widening 94. Did anything ever happen with that project?
I have not heard anything recently
I
about
think it's
94.
2013, but Cooley would not be narrowed. It would come back, but the street itself would not be narrowed.
Right, it would just get closer to Cooley, right? We'd just lose the green
It's
space.
2013. That's the last I remember.
I just thought, we should be hearing something about it soon, so.
Are they adding additional lanes or what?
Cooley is one of the roads that's on the mill and overlay project this year,
Yep.
from 11th to about Associated Bank, so,
So this wouldn't impact that at all. Okay.
thanks.
Any other questions for Dennis? Thank you. 2011 Mill and Overlay Project Special Assessment for Curb and Gutter Preliminary Resolution 14-11. Tom, do you want to talk about this? Or don't you want to talk about it? This is a pretty standard,
Yeah, we're required to do this prior to any special assessment notices going out. So this is a standard resolution we do every year that we have to do before we can issue notices. Once the preliminary notices will go out, and then once we get the final numbers at the bid, and they'll implement the final numbers.
and this is from 13th to 11th to Associated Bank, roughly?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions about this?
Move to
We've done it
suspend.
every year. You have a motion to approve the resolution?
Well, suspend first.
Suspend the rules?
Second.
Roll call.
Morset,
Yes.
Yakub,
Yes.
Haggett,
Yes.
Vanslo,
Yes.
Wyland,
Yes.
Bernard.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve
Move to
resolution?
approve resolution 1411.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Go ahead, Tom.
We going down far enough? I mean, I know the money's tight, but
Can I just share what we've, basically, we measured from 11th Street to the Associated Bank area, and we included as alternates the other areas that we discussed, such as Ash Street, Aspen, 7th and 9th Street, intersections on St. Croix Street, and Hanley Road. Just our guest estimates from previous years' projects, going from 11th Street to the Associated Bank, we're estimated at $205,000 for that area. To do alternate A, which is 2nd Street, we want to do about 70 feet beyond where we're going to have the intersection repaired, roughly 5,300. Hanley Road, to go from O'Keefe Road toward Nimmokagon, is approximately 40,000.
That's a mess, right?
Don't we already have that?
That's
what
going to
we're
be
doing.
included
That's
in the
included.
total. We have $275,000 that's included in our mill and overlay projects for this year. Actually, I'm sorry, that was about 45,000 for Hanley Road. 7th and 9th Streets, 11,000 and 5,000. Aspen Drive is approximately 20,000, 21,000, and Ash Drive is about 10. So
Is Grandview not on there? I'm sorry.
No.
not this year.
So if we add some of those other areas, we're gonna need to,
If there's curb and gutter, if there's any curb and gutter work, we would have to do an additional resolution.
okay.
In the other projects, there are not. We just included the ones on
Just the-
Cooley
yeah.
Road, and the ones that are on Hanley Road are actually mostly city right-of-way or rear lots, so we don't assess for those.
are we covering the bad spots up there when we stop at Associate? I mean, is that?
That was the worst. It seems like that's a newer project. When they did Target and Family Fresh, they came down to that point, so it's not as bad.
I know the cost of mobilizing, if we're there, we should do it, I get it, there's only so much money, but if we're there.
I guess
Saying that's where it is.
at this point, we just felt that we're doing the worst areas, and then we wanted to do, like Hanley Road is, and some of these other areas are really in need, so, we thought we.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Randy, you go.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, if we're there, and it's bad up a couple feet down from where you decide to end.
That would have definitely put us over the amount budgeted, and we wouldn't have been able to do any of these other ones, I'm afraid of,
So
so.
decide where you want to cut, and then if you want to go further there, we have to cut someplace else.
Once we get the numbers.
I think some of
Yep.
the other streets he's mentioned are much worse
Oh,
than anything
absolutely.
past Target Street, so he's doing the right thing, because those are just
Not
deteriorating.
objecting to
Yeah.
it.
If you look at Ash and Aspen and
I know,
Hamley
I'm
Road,
the one who pushed for that.
Okay.
okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. We can see how the bids come in and go from there.
Hopefully the bids will come in lower.
I
Then we
hope
can
so.
Go further, Randy. Lori, did you have something? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Approve new bond schedule for the Common Council for smoking prohibited in area ordinance.
This is just on that smoking ban ordinance that the council passed, was it last summer?
Is this the one we had to comply with the state
Yeah,
rule?
and so the judge just needs council approval of the bond she's setting for these violations, and they're consistent with the ordinance, so
Okay.
it's just kind of a housekeeping so that she can put in the bonds.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think that's, I just had a couple things. We've had water that came down on Friday night that caused a lot of problems down on Third Street. First Street, we had some issues on washouts coming from up on the hill over by 11th Street. We've also, Monday night of last week, we had a sewer backup on Grandview Drive, about 7 to 10 people. Basements were filled with sewer, and we're trying to work through that. We're trying to help get those things cleaned up, and but it was quite a mess. And so just for your information. Any other council members?
I have 3 items.
Okay.
First, I want to thank Public Works. Our neighborhood was one of the ones that received a lot of the flooding, and they were out there and they helped us keep from having a lot of damage in the neighbors. But we had a lot of water, but they were out there, and I want to publicly thank them for the work that they did. Second one is, I was approached to ask if we could combine our efforts with North Hudson on emergency management. So I'd like to put that on our next safety committee agenda to see if there's some synergies there. And the last one was, I got a request from a constituent who said, if I've got an emergency on a weekend, who do I call? You know, from the city perspective. They can call 911, I suppose, and 911 can then contact the city. But if they need to ask for approval to go out and get a roto-rooter or whatever, if there's a city problem with backed up sewer, do they call 911 or should we have them call the city?
I would anticipate they probably should call 911 if it's an emergency where the sewer backup, because the sewer department should respond. You know.
They have Jim's name, and they contacted him on
And then
Monday
he has
night.
a call-out list that, because if you call the non-emergency numbers, you aren't.
It says, Zone 1, okay. Zone 2, okay.
So they should, if there's a true emergency where you know, they should call 911 and they have the dispatch information out there, whether
So
it's a
the-
street light down, whether it's a.
Right. The request was then to put something on our website that says, for city emergencies, call this number also.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Any other alderperson? City attorney?
Nothing.
City administrator?
Nothing.
Boy, that's an easy night. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.